The sun rises slow over Silver Pines, a quiet gated community where every lawn looks like it belongs in a catalog and the HOA rules are written in stone. Sprinklers hiss in perfect sync. Birds chirp on command, it seems. And on the corner of Oakleaf Drive, right near the pristine white mailbox with gold trim, 76-year-old Eli Jefferson waters his marigolds like he does every morning at 7:05 a.m. sharp. He hums softly, "Sam Cooke, a change is gonna come." Hands weathered, skin dark as molasses. He wears a pressed button-down tucked into slacks, the kind of man who still believes presentation matters. Eli doesn't own a dog, doesn't throw parties, doesn't cause a stir. He's lived here longer than most, nearly 20 years. Long before the neighborhood was renamed Silver Pines to make it sound more expensive. Long before people started whispering property values every time someone who looked like him moved in. The only thing louder than the HOA's rules here is the silence that follows when Eli walks by. Still, he minds his business, greets neighbors with a tip of his cap, keeps to himself. It's peaceful, or it used to be. Lately, though, something feels off. Started small. A note left in his mailbox. Trash cans must be stored immediately after pickup. HOA Guidelines Section 3.2. But Eli never leaves his bins out more than a few hours. Then, a warning for having unapproved exterior decor. It was a wind chime his late wife loved, carved wood, soft tones. Nothing gaudy. Now he's getting letters almost weekly. Fines. Citations. A formal complaint about excessive watering during drought hours, even though he only waters during the permitted window. At first, he thought it was a mistake, a mix-up, maybe a new HOA board member getting a little overzealous. Then he met her, Karen Whitmore, the newly elected head of the HOA. Platinum bob, pastel cardigans, and a clipboard clutched like a badge of honor. She smiles like she's doing you a favor, but her eyes are knives. She moved in less than a year ago, but already acts like she owns the whole block. The problem isn't the rules. Eli knows the rules. It's how she only seems to enforce them on certain people. The Patel kids down the street got fined for chalk drawings. The Wuss were told their porch lanterns were too ethnic. And now, Eli with his marigolds, his wind chime, and his unauthorized mailbox paint color. Beige. Today, as he leans down to trim a stray leaf, he notices something strange. Karen's SUV parked at the end of the street. She's sitting inside, sunglasses on, engine off, just watching. Eli straightens, heart ticking faster than he likes. She pulls away without a wave. He stands there, pruning shears in hand, unease tightening in his chest like a slow-forming storm. Something's coming. He doesn't know what, but he can feel it. And for the first time in 20 years, Eli doesn't feel safe in his own neighborhood. It starts with a knock. Not the friendly kind. Not the neighborly kind. This one is sharp. 3 raps. Demanding. Meant to unsettle. Eli opens the door, slow and cautious. And there she is, Karen Whitmore, HOA clipboard in hand, wearing that saccharine smile that never reaches her eyes. "Good morning, Mr. Jefferson," she says, tilting her head like she's addressing a child who just spilled juice on a white carpet. "We need to talk about your hedges." Eli blinks. "My what now?" "Your hedges. They're over the regulation height by..." She glances at her clipboard. 2.5 inches. According to HOA landscaping guidelines, Section 4.1.3, shrubbery must remain under 4 feet. You're currently at 4.25. Eli glances at the hedge. It's barely grown since last month, when he trimmed it himself with a tape measure and shears. "You measured that?" he asks, voice calm but taut. She smiles wider. "We maintain standards here, Mr. Jefferson. It's what keeps Silver Pines so desirable." Eli doesn't say it, but he thinks it. Desirable for who? Karen taps the clipboard. "You'll receive a citation in the mail. Please address it within 72 hours to avoid further penalties." And just like that, she spins on her heels and walks off, heels clicking against the pavement like a countdown. The letters pile up. One for non-compliant house paint, even though the color was approved 20 years ago. Another for visible tools, after Eli left a trowel on the porch for less than an hour. A formal notice for improper flag display. His black veteran's flag, which has flown in the same spot since the day he moved in. Each citation is a paper-cut reminder. You don't belong. Eli starts to notice things. His security camera scratched. His welcome mat gone one morning. The Patel kids whisper that Karen yelled at them for riding their bikes too close to her Lexus. Mrs. Wu stops hosting her Sunday tea circles after Karen called them unauthorized gatherings. It's not just him. Still, there's no proof. No video. No witnesses willing to speak. Just patterns, just stories. And that's the thing about racism in Silver Pines. It never announces itself with slurs or signs. It's quiet, polished, baked into the bylaws, masked with concern and standards. At night, Eli finds himself locking his door twice. He reviews his own security footage, but it only shows shadows and silence. Nothing concrete. One morning, he sees her again, Karen, standing across the street, phone in hand, pretending to be on a call. But she's looking straight at his house. He watches her from behind the curtain, wonders what she's planning, wonders how far she'll go. Something inside him, something old and tired, stirs to life. He's seen this kind of control before, not in gated communities, but in marches, in uniforms, in men with guns and badges who said they were just doing their job. And now it's wearing pearls and a clipboard. He doesn't know it yet, but the game has already begun. Eli's hands tremble slightly as he presses print on his desktop. A stack of HOA letters, each one a thinly veiled threat, sits beside the printer like a case file. Dates, times, photos he's snapped with his phone. Paper trail of harassment. He's had enough. That afternoon, he attends the HOA meeting in the community clubhouse. It's the first time he's shown up in 5 years. The room smells like citrus cleaner and entitlement. Folding chairs in neat rows. Lemonade in plastic pitchers. Karen stands at the front in a pale blue blouse, addressing the board like a politician playing to her base. We must preserve the character of Silver Pines, she says, by ensuring all residents adhere to community standards. Eli raises his hand. Karen's eyes flicker, but she nods. Mr. Jefferson. He stands, voice steady. I've received 6 citations in the past 30 days. I reviewed the HOA bylaws. None of them hold up. My hedges are compliant. My paint was pre-approved. And there's no rule about decorative flags, unless that rule was created this month. A few murmurs ripple through the room. Karen doesn't blink. Mr. Jefferson, the rules apply equally to everyone. He meets her gaze. Do they? Because I've noticed something. When the Simons left their bins out overnight, no citation. When I did, I got fined. The Watsons had their grandkids chalk on the sidewalk, no issue. The Patels did it? Suddenly it's graffiti. This isn't about compliance. It's about control. A board member shifts uncomfortably in their seat. Someone coughs. Karen's voice sharpens. If you feel you've been treated unfairly, you may submit a formal complaint to the HOA in writing. I already did, Eli says, holding up the paperwork. 3 times. No response. Karen forces a smile. We'll look into it. He knows that smile. It means we won't. We don't care. You're a problem to manage, not a neighbor to support. The next morning, Eli wakes to something worse than a letter. His marigolds flattened, crushed like someone stomped through them in boots. He crouches low, touching the petals. Muddy shoe prints lead to the sidewalk. No note this time, just damage. A slow burn builds in his chest. He installs a new security camera, one with night vision and cloud backup. He tells no one. Across town, he meets with Lena Patel, who works in tech and once mentioned she could make Ring cameras sing. She pulls up timestamps from her family's camera. Footage of Karen standing outside Eli's house at 2:12 a.m., staring at his porch before walking away. It's not proof she did anything, Lena says. But she's definitely watching you. Eli nods, jaw tight. That's enough to start. Together, they compile hours of footage. Glimpses of Karen photographing driveways, peering into windows, making late-night rounds like she's on patrol. Then comes the final straw. Eli walks outside one afternoon, heading to get his mail. Karen's SUV pulls up fast, too fast, and stops inches from the curb where he stands. The window rolls down. "Mr. Jefferson," she says coldly, "we've received a report that you've been recording residents without their consent. That's a violation of privacy under HOA policy. You'll be receiving a cease and desist letter." Eli narrows his eyes. "I have every right to record my own property, unless the HOA bylaws outrank the law now." She stares at him for a long moment. "You should be careful. People are starting to feel uncomfortable." His blood chills. There it is. The real message. Not a warning, a threat. That night, Lena texts him something chilling. "Check the footage." He does. Karen is on his porch. Again, close to the camera. But this time she's holding something. A cup. She pours it into the flower bed. Walks away. In the morning, the soil is scorched. Dead. The next HOA meeting, Eli arrives early. He stands outside the clubhouse with a tablet in hand and a small Bluetooth speaker in his pocket. One by one, neighbors approach. He shows them the video. No narration. Just facts. Timestamps. Her face. Her hand. Her actions. Gasps. Wide eyes. One woman mutters, "Oh my God!" People start whispering. The bubble is cracking. Eli looks up at the community sign Silver Pines. A place to belong. He breathes deep. The air smells different today, like something coming undone. And it's just the beginning. The next HOA meeting is packed. Every folding chair is taken. Neighbors stand shoulder to shoulder against the clubhouse walls, fanning themselves with HOA newsletters. Whispers ripple like wind through tall grass. Something's in the air tonight. Not just curiosity, anticipation. Eli Jefferson walks in last. He doesn't carry a stack of complaints. No clipboard. No anger on his face. Just a calm, focused presence. A quiet storm. Karen Whitmore sits at the head of the room, flanked by two board members and her usual air of smug certainty. She sees him and smiles, tight and professional. "Mr. Jefferson, good of you to join us again." He nods. "Wouldn't miss it." Karen rises, tapping the mic. "Let's begin tonight's meeting by addressing a pressing concern. Unauthorized surveillance of residents, which constitutes a breach of privacy and may result in penalties, including removal from the HOA. A few heads turn. Murmurs. Confused faces. She continues, voice smooth. "A formal complaint has been submitted against Mr. Jefferson for using security devices to unlawfully monitor others. This behavior..." Eli cuts in. Calmly. "Who filed the complaint?" Karen blinks. "The board has received it anonymously, but the footage speaks for itself." He tilts his head. "You mean the footage of you trespassing on my property? Poisoning my flower bed?" Karen stiffens. Her lips part, but no sound comes out. Eli pulls a small remote from his pocket and points it at the TV mounted on the wall behind the board. Click. The screen comes to life. A security feed. Black and white. Clear. The timestamp reads 2:17 a.m. There she is, Karen, walking up his driveway, pouring something dark into the flower bed, looking over her shoulder, leaving. The room gasps. Click. Another video. Karen at his front door, crouching down. She removes something from his welcome mat. Looks straight at the camera. Click. The third clip. Karen pacing in front of the Jefferson house. Phone to her ear, then lowering it, and taking a photo of his porch from the sidewalk. Silence hangs like smoke. Karen flushes deep crimson. "This is out of context. You're twisting things." "Then explain it." Eli says, still calm. "Explain why your car is parked on my street in the middle of the night. Why my flowers are dead. Why my property's been vandalized only after you took office." One of the board members leans forward. "Karen, is this true?" Karen forces a laugh. "This is ridiculous. It's all edited." He's trying to distract from his own violations. He's a repeat offender. The hedges, the flag, the mailbox. They were compliant, Eli says. "And you knew it." He holds up another sheet. "I spoke to the original HOA president. He confirmed in writing that my house color, my flag, and my front garden were grandfathered in. You targeted me anyway. She falters. You can't. Eli turns to the crowd. How many of you have been fined this year for things you've always done? Hands rise. The Patels. The Wuss. The Nguyen's. Even the Simons, white but tired of the drama, nod along. Karen's voice climbs in pitch. This is a personal attack. He's manipulating everyone. He's turning this into a race issue. The word race hits the room like a firecracker. And there it is. The mask slips. Eli steps forward. You're right. This is personal. Because it's been personal from the moment you moved in and decided who deserved to live here in peace, and who didn't. But I'm not here to argue. I'm here to show what's been hidden. He taps the remote one last time. This video is from Lena Patel's camera. Karen, standing outside Eli's house, middle of the night, phone in hand, whispering to someone. We'll keep the pressure on. He'll leave eventually. They always do. Karen's jaw drops. Someone near the back shouts. She said they? Whispers turn to chatter. Then outrage. Board members exchange looks. One of them speaks into the mic, effective immediately. This board is voting to suspend Karen Whitmore pending investigation. Karen lunges forward. You can't do this. I run this neighborhood. No, Eli says quietly. You don't. The speaker crackles off. Karen stands frozen, her power slipping through her fingers like water. And for the first time in months, Eli feels something deep in his bones. Stillness. Not just the end of a battle. The beginning of peace. Karen storms out of the clubhouse with her phone clutched tight in her hand, heels clacking against the pavement like gunshots. Her face is crimson, jaw locked, eyes glassy with rage and disbelief. The meeting isn't even over. People are still talking inside, loud, emotional, energized. For months, they swallowed her citations, her warnings, her condescending emails about preserving community standards. Now, like a crack in a dam, everything's spilling out. Neighbors are connecting stories, realizing they weren't alone. The Patel kids were banned from the clubhouse pool for disruptive behavior. The Wuss were fined for excessive lawn ornaments during Lunar New Year. The Wilsons, black, like Eli, had a home improvement request denied 5 times for design inconsistencies. It wasn't just about rules. It was who the rules were for, and who they were used against. Back inside, Eli remains quiet. He doesn't gloat. He doesn't shout. He doesn't need to, because the truth has weight. And tonight, it's finally louder than her lies. Board member Janine O'Brien, a retired school principal with no tolerance for nonsense, takes control. We're forming an independent review committee, and a community vote will determine if Karen Whitmore is permanently removed from the HOA board. All citations issued in the past 12 months will be reevaluated. Applause erupts. Eli exhales. It should feel like victory, but something tugs at the edges of his mind. Unfinished business. Because he knows Karen. She doesn't go down quiet. That night, Eli wakes at 3:07 a.m. Motion alert. He checks his phone. Camera 3, driveway. There she is, Karen, standing in front of his garage. Her hair wild, makeup smudged, a bottle of something in her hand. She looks right at the camera, then throws the bottle at it. Crack. The feed cuts. Eli's already moving. He grabs his phone and calls 911. Calmly, clearly. Yes. I need to report an attempted act of vandalism. I have her on video. The footage is backed up. Within minutes, blue and red lights reflect off windows and parked cars. A cruiser pulls up. Officers step out. Karen is still standing there, frozen, caught. The officer shines a flashlight in her direction. Ma'am, step away from the property. I live here, she stammers. This is my neighborhood. That man, he's stirring up trouble. He doctored that footage. Ma'am, the officer says again, firmer. We have live video evidence of you trespassing and attempting to destroy private property. Step away from the house. Eli watches from his porch, arms crossed, silent. The same woman who once stood on this very sidewalk with her clipboard and fake smile is now pleading with law enforcement not to cuff her. But they do. They read her rights, place her in the cruiser, drive her away. Neighbors peek through blinds. Some step outside. One of them, Mr. Lopez from 2 doors down, walks over and pats Eli on the shoulder. "You did good. We all saw it. We just didn't know how to fight it." Eli nods. "It took all of us." The fallout is swift and merciless. The next morning, the HOA inbox is flooded with emails. Calls for Karen's immediate removal. Calls for reform. Social media posts circulate with clips of the footage Eli shared. Local news picks up the story by noon. HOA board member arrested after allegedly harassing elderly veteran. Footage confirms pattern of racial targeting. Karen's reputation, polished, curated, pristine, is now radioactive. Her real estate license is suspended pending investigation. Her clients back out of deals. Her broker severs ties. The same neighbors she once charmed at wine nights now delete her from group chats. The HOA board votes unanimously to expel her. She's banned from holding any leadership position within the community. Her past citations are overturned. Her bylaws, revised. But the final nail comes days later. A woman named Delilah, a former board secretary who moved away a year prior, reaches out to the review committee. She presents screenshots, emails between Karen and a few handpicked board members. Lines like, "We need to keep this neighborhood from turning into a circus. Too many renters. Too many flags. Too many people who don't understand decorum. I'll find a way to make him leave. Trust me." The emails go public. Now there's no debate. No more misunderstanding. No more hiding behind policy or platitudes. Karen Whitmore built her little empire on fear, racism, and privilege. And Eli? He burned it down with truth, evidence, and relentless calm. Days later, Eli plants new marigolds. The ones Karen poisoned. Bright yellow blossoms now burst from the soil, stubborn and joyful. Neighbors wave, stop by, offer help, ask questions. And something shifts. Not just in the neighborhood. In them. A shared silence broken. A quiet reckoning. Because injustice can hide behind rules. But once it's dragged into the light, can't survive there. Section 6. Justice and Resolution. 600 words. It starts with a "for sale" sign. Not Eli's house, Karen's. 1 week after her arrest, the bright white sign stabs the lawn like a surrender flag. No balloons, no open house. Just silence. Curtains drawn. Her once pristine lawn unkempt. Brown patches spreading like rot. The same neighbors she once scolded now walk their dogs past her house without a glance. Some shake their heads. Some smirk. Most just keep walking, unwilling to admit how long they let her get away with it. But Eli? He doesn't gloat. He waters his flowers. He waves to every single person who passes. And they wave back now. Karen is charged with trespassing, vandalism, and harassment. But the court of public opinion hits harder. The leaked emails, the footage, her mugshot, flushed face, glassy eyes, spreads like wildfire across local news and social media. Former clients cut ties. Her brokerage drops her. Her real estate license is revoked. By the end of the month, she's forced to sell her home at a loss. Rumor has it she moved back in with her sister 2 counties over. Somewhere she can lay low, regroup, and pretend none of this happened. But people remember, especially those she hurt. The HOA board undergoes a complete shakeup. New bylaws are drafted. A diversity committee is formed. Fines are frozen until an independent audit is complete. The Patels are invited to decorate the clubhouse for Diwali. The Woos lead a Lunar New Year potluck in February. Mr. Lopez, retired, soft-spoken, volunteers to mow lawns for neighbors who can't. And Eli? He's asked to join the board. First, he laughs. "I've had enough HOA drama to last a lifetime." But they're serious. "Because you didn't back down," Janine tells him. "Because you stood up when no one else did." So he agrees. Not to wield power, but to protect peace. On a quiet Sunday morning, Eli visits the garden. The marigolds are in full bloom now, vivid gold and orange, spreading confidently across the bed like they own the place. He crouches down, pulls a stray weed, brushes soil from a stepping stone. Behind him, footsteps crunch. Lena Patel approaches with her youngest daughter, Maya. The little girl clutches a small pot, hand-painted, lopsided, charming. Inside, a tiny green sprout. Maya steps forward shyly. "It's for your garden." Eli smiles. "Did you grow that yourself?" She nods. He makes room in the soil and helps her plant it. No speeches, no ceremony, just quiet, simple planting. Something about that moment sticks. Roots in the ground, healing in motion. That night, Eli sits on his porch, coffee in hand, wind rustling through the trees. He hears laughter echoing down the street, neighbors gathering, a grill firing up, kids playing tag. A new kind of silence settles over the neighborhood. Not the tense kind, not the kind that hides whispers or fear. This one is gentle, earned, real. He thinks of the long months, the gaslighting, the threats, the way Karen made him feel small, isolated like a trespasser in his own home. But not anymore, not ever again, because truth like a camera doesn't blink. And when you shine a light long enough, even the deepest rot has to surface. And when it does, you dig it out, you plant something better, you grow again.